Welcome to Triad Next Level Training. Now on to today's topic. Today we're going to be looking at the rough grade QC. Just like the other QCs, the first two items, additional items not to standard, and additional items preventing 100% complete, are not used unless something down below does not apply to the situation. So you would use one of those to create a follow-up in that case. The first item, we come down to all excess dirt piles and vegetation/spoils hauled off or placed in a stockpile designated in a subdivision area. You really shouldn't see this at this time. This should be done at the bench and balance when they push the pad and they clear out the vegetation and develop the swales, all at the front end on the pad push day. And there really shouldn't be any stockpiling in the subdivision unless you've been instructed by land development, by the managing partner, or by the foundation manager. The next item, did the trade clean the site? You're going to be looking to make sure everything's cleaned up, water bottles, things of that nature, that they've done a good job of leaving it in good condition. Manholes and storm drains not covered with dirt. Now that's going to be really tough to know where those are located, especially a manhole, because it's not really showing up on our plot plans. This is one that you need to go out and walk the site, make sure you're looking for any type of manholes, and it would look like this, or any storm drain inlets, and make sure that they're done correctly. Now you would need to write a VPO to do any work around the storm drain if it's not looking correct, but you will want to leave that in a correct condition at this point. That there's no damage to sewer cleanouts or any other utilities. Here's what those would look like. No excess stone spread in the yard. That typically would come from the temporary drive that's been put in. If we put that in correctly, they should be able to prep and pour right over the top of it. We want to make sure that there's no stone that's spread into the yard. If there is, we need to get the landscaper back to take care of that. Perimeter foundation fully backfilled with drainage established away from foundation. You should have proper fall on the side yards, the backyard, the front yard, away from the home. Ultimately, you want to have 6 inches in the first 10 foot. Now that could be down to the center of the swale, but you want to make sure you have proper fall in that area, and it has been fully backfilled around the home. One way you can check the grade is to put a 6-foot level on one end, setting on the ground, running out towards the swale, and then hold it up to where it's level, and then measure down at the end that is near the swale, and that'll tell you how far you're falling in 6 feet. In order to have 6 inches of fall over 10 feet, at the 6-foot mark, you need to be at about 4 inches from the ground to the bottom of the level. This rough grade QC complete with no deficiencies, you're not going to be using that one because any question that's not covered by what we're going through today would be covered by the first two up at the top. Rough grade within 1.5 inches of final grade. That should be, again, pretty well established at this point. We should have done all of our dirt movement that we're going to do. You can look around the sidewalks, the driveway, and you shouldn't have much of a lip around there, not more than 1.5 inches around any of those areas. The next two questions really shouldn't apply at this point. They need to be moved to an earlier quality check, because if we're doing everything the way that we're supposed to, the driveway would be in already. And so the temp drive cut out before aggregate stone installed would not really apply at this point. And again, the temp drive set up with a concrete trade partner can use the temp drive as base in lieu of removing. Those should go to a previous quality check. And then the last question, the backfill rough grade is complete with drainage and properly established to drain the lot. This question can be deleted because it's essentially the same question as one of them a couple above from here, where we talked about having the proper fall. But you should have good drainage away. It should be very obvious at this point. Here's some pictures of a yard that's been done correctly to where you have good side, back, and front yard drainage. Let's take a look at the backfill and rough grade quality standards and see what's pertinent to this quality check. Going down to this first bullet here, it is the grading trade partner's responsibility to make every attempt to balance each yard so that no dirt is hauled on or off the lot. Upon inspection of the backfill rough grade by a True Homes representative, if it's determined that the lot was not graded within the specification or not fully completed to specification, then the grading trade partner will repair the grade at no charge to True Homes within 1 business day. Backfill and rough grade dirt must be free of trash and construction debris. The second bullet point says that they need to go by the 10-day outlook unless they're scheduled otherwise. We're going to use the 10-day outlook to schedule them. As we look at job readiness, prior to the beginning of the work, any excessive construction material and debris should have been removed from the lot. If the site has excessive debris or construction material in place, they're to notify the True Homes foundation supervisor, foundation manager, managing partner, or in this case, the builder. Number 2, all foundation, drive, sidewalks, and patios will be in place. Number 3, sewer and water lines will be installed. Number 4, water meter box will be installed. Number 5, temporary power pole will be installed. Number 6, the entire lot will have been scraped to remove the top layer of organic material. This actually should have been done by our grader at Pad Push when they did the swales and created the drainage for the whole home. On this, I think you also need to be aware if there's side yard slopes, backyard slopes, those types of things, they may not have the vegetation removed from those. If they're getting plant material later on, if they're getting sod, then those should be removed. Number 7, previously established swales and grade will have been affected by the construction of the foundation and flat work. Soil piles and tracks will be found around the foundation and yard. No soil piles created during the excavation of footings and preparation of flat work shall be more than 4 foot tall on the lot. So that's saying when they get there, the concrete trade didn't leave anything around the house as far as soil piles taller than 4 feet. Number 8, erosion control measures including silt fence will be properly installed and in place to prevent stormwater runoff and sediment from washing the site. Number 9, if any of the above standards have not been met, it's the grading trade partner's responsibility to contact the foundation supervisor, foundation manager, managing partner, builder prior to work being done, and a VPO will be written or the work rescheduled at a later date when the job is ready. Moving on down into backfill grading. Do not grade over or bury construction materials or trash. It's the responsibility of the rough grader to be sure the site is ready for grading prior to beginning the work. Do not leave the site due to excessive debris or soils without speaking with the foundation manager, foundation supervisor, or managing partner, as well as the builder. The VPO should be requested if excessive cleanup or dirt movement is required. Down here under number 1, driving on exterior concrete should be avoided at all times. The site should be accessed through the yard. Basically, if they need to take down erosion control to get through to do that, they should do it that way and then put the erosion control back up. They should not go through the driveway. If they have to cross over a public walk, it tells you in this section that they need to make sure that they look at it prior for damage, make sure the area they're crossing, they're going to minimize the ability to do any type of damage to it. For example, if there's a washed out area, they don't want to cross through there, that type of thing. And so they're responsible to make sure that they take care of the concrete and to let us know if there's any chips or anything in it prior to starting. As you read through number 2, basically what that's telling you is they're to leave it with a proper drainage to wash everything away from the home, that type of thing. And so in here it tells them that they're responsible to do that. They don't necessarily have to regrade every swale if one of them is working fine, but they do need to make sure they're all working correctly before they leave. It's in this section that we get the criteria that the yard must not hold water for more than 24 hours and the swales must not hold water for more than 48 hours after a soaking rain. Number 3, prior to performing rough grade, any stones larger than 3.5 inches in diameter must be removed from the site and either taken with the grading trade partner or located per the foundation manager, foundation supervisor, or managing partner. Never place stones, masonry, or broken concrete into washout areas, as sharp points may penetrate the membrane. A VPO will be issued for stone removal that requires more than 20 minutes of labor on the site or for haul off of excessive stone. Rough grade will be within 1.5 inches of finish grade. Number 5, the yard must be properly sloped to carry water away from the home. The foundation across the slope for the bench and balance grading quality standard. Drainage away from the foundation walls shall fall a minimum of 6 inches within the first 10 feet and 2.5 inches per 10 foot thereafter. The yard must not hold water for more than 24 hours, and all swales must not hold water for more than 48 hours after a soaking rain. Ensure that all gouges and deep track marks created during the installation of foundation and flat work are smoothed out, and a minimum of 8 inches of foundation wall must be left exposed to ensure proper runoff of the foundation and to meet all municipality requirements. All exterior concrete must be backfilled to minimize washout of areas adjacent to the concrete. Hand rake around the flat work and foundation to ensure proper backfill is done and to eliminate a washout of concrete. When backfilling around exterior flat work, any washout will be repaired as follows. When a void of 12 inches or 1 foot or less exists between the bottom of the flat work and the top of the soil, then the trade partner would use a backfill standard method of packing it with dirt. If the void extends more than 1 foot, must be dry packed with sand or stone prior to backfill. A void between 13 and 18 inches must use sand or stone, and any void more than 18 inches reported to the foundation supervisor, foundation manager, or managing partner for remedy. A VPO will be issued for backfilling with sand or stone. It is the grading trade partner's responsibility to ensure that all backfilling crews carry a minimum of 2 50-pound bags of sand with them at all times so that the production is not affected for minor repairs. Repairs requiring stone must be made within 24 hours from the original request date, unless a greater delay is approved by the foundation manager, foundation supervisor, or managing partner. And then number 8, temporary power poles are not to be disturbed. Immediately report any damage to the temporary pole to True Homes personal builder or managing partner. The section under trade partner's responsibility. Number 3, it's the grading trade partner's responsibility to notify the foundation manager, foundation supervisor, managing partner if they're going to have any capacity issues. They should do this well ahead of their scheduled day when they see it identified on their 10-day outlook. Weather delays, it's the responsibility of the trade partner to make every good faith effort to complete the work per the requested schedule. Do not fail to send out crews due to weather concerns without first contacting the foundation manager, foundation supervisor, or managing partner. It's their responsibility to let us know if the conditions are not favorable to do grading prior to leaving the site. And if they're going to create greater damage to a lot by putting equipment on it, then they shouldn't do the work. If they can't proceed with the work and a VPO is required due to poor site conditions, then we'll issue it if it's per the following standards. If the grading needs to happen and the conditions aren't favorable and we still need them to do it, we need to write them a VPO for $150. And then under B, a VPO will not be issued if the trade partner created an unapproved delay in the work and now weather became an issue. So if they didn't show up on the day they were scheduled, and then it rained, and then they came out and they wanted a VPO, they would not be due that VPO. Under cleanup, the grading trade partner is to avoid dragging mud and debris into the streets whenever possible. Any mud or debris brought into the street by the trade partner must be removed from the street by the end of the day, prior to the trade leaving the site. And it is the trade partner's responsibility to ensure that mud and debris do not fall off the equipment as they're exiting the community. All drives and walks must be clear of soil prior to leaving the job. And then you have silt fence. It's responsible of the grading trade partner to take down all silt fence as required to access the site without causing damage to the fence, and then reinstall the fencing prior to leaving. Any damage to the erosion control fence must be immediately reported to the foundation supervisor or personal builder so that repairs can be scheduled. Thank you for watching this session of Triad Next Level Training.